Welcome to Sunday Square Off. On today's show, President Trump's impact on Arizona after 100 days. We'll hear from insiders and voters. What makes an Arizona charter school the best high school in the country? Public school supporters are skeptical. Plus, why an ad last week thanking Governor Ducey got the most viewer comments. But we start with the big unanswered questions at the Capitol. Will our teachers get raises? Will universities get a pot of gold? And will rural areas get better roads? We could have the answers this week, with rumors flying that the budget will come to a vote. Joining us, two people who know all the budget numbers and the answers. Rachel Leingang, Governor's Office reporter for the Arizona Capital Times, and political analyst Chris Hurstum. Good to see you both.
Good morning.
There are three budget items that everybody believes are at the center of the negotiations going on right now. Let's start with Doug Ducey's plan to fund universities. Rachel, what is it, and why can't the governor get what he wants?
This is the biggest hang-up in the budget, no doubt. It's $1 billion plan, 30 years to give universities the ability to take on some more debt, to build new buildings, to repair old buildings. Some of it might go to general operations. The governor wanted to do a sales tax redirect, and that pot of gold, like you said, would grow and grow and grow and grow and grow to probably more in the range of, $3 billion by the end of it. So that isn't sitting well with people. They do seem okay with bonding in general. It seems like there's going to be some sort of bonding for universities.
Enabling the schools to borrow more. What's the problem with taking that sales tax money and handing it back to the universities? It's sales taxes the universities themselves pay, but they get to keep it.
The cities, because the cities lose about $7 million a year if that sales tax is redirected to use just for bonding. And a lot of legislators don't want to dump on the cities and deprive them of that. And legislators also, particularly Republican legislators, just don't like the idea of monkeying with the sales tax. They rely on that a lot, and because they try to keep the property and income tax and corporate income tax very low. And so they would rather just sort of pay for it out of the general fund, frankly. I think the governor is going to have to budge on that. The universities will get their pot of gold.
They'll get their money. Okay, now what the universities get then will affect what teachers get in their raises. That's what I keep hearing. And whatever that money, the money that's left over, some of that will go to the teachers. Governor's proposed 0.4% a year.
0.04, 4/10.
Which is 0.4.
Yeah, well, the Republican legislators want 1%.
They want 1%.
Yes.
So from puny to meager, take your choice. Can the governor really stick with 0.4%? Can he get away with that?
No, I think he's gotten enough pushback, and he's been beaten up enough on that tiny salary increase that he's going to go along with the Republican legislators. I think we'll see it hit about 1%. Democrats want a 4% increase. And Diane Douglas, the big spending superintendent, wants a one-time 11% increase. I think we'll see it hit about 1%.
Yeah, I mean, Diane Douglas doesn't have to make the hard decision of where that money comes from. So I suppose that's an easier pot to throw out at that point. It's undoubted that they're going to get a raise. It's probably 1% or more. Ducey threw out about 20 different steps for education. Some of those will not go through and will probably get directed toward this teacher raise idea.
All right, now HERF funding, not a sexy topic, but very important to the rural areas. It's all about money for our highways. It's been used for anything but highways over the last several years. Why is HERF spending so important, and why is that possibly holding up the budget?
It's a good way for lawmakers to bring something back to their district and say, hey, this is for your roads here, that pothole that you're driving over every day. I made it better, and it's a good campaign idea, and it's been swept, repeatedly, especially during the recession. So people in rural Arizona, they want to see changes there.
So money for highway improvements has become a piggy bank for other things.
It's not a lot of new, it's not new money really. What it amounts to is in the current fiscal year, the governor and the legislature put $30 million into HERF, the Highway User Revenue Fund, to replenish what they had taken out in part from the past. The governor's budget did not keep that $30 million from this year in next year's budget. And so really what the legislature is trying to do, and it's probably the most nonpartisan, Democrats and Republicans, they're trying to keep that $30 million in the HERF fund. So it will sort of maintain the status quo.
Okay, so it sounds like everybody's going to be happy.
No, they're never happy.
All right. Predictions. When is this budget going to be passed?
Thursday. Oh, this coming Thursday.
Thursday. But what time Thursday?
Oh, it could be 3 in the morning.
It's always middle of the morning.
Unlike previous recent sessions, when the budget passes, they can go home. It'll be sine die. The other issues are pretty much done. And I think they'll pass the budget early morning hours of Thursday and skedaddle.
Rachel?
That's a little too specific for me, but I'd say next week seems likely, probably.
This coming week?
Yeah, there's not a lot left to negotiate at this point, so someone's going to have to fold at this point, and we'll have to get out of here eventually.
By the way, there'll be a whole bunch of burbs, budget bills that are part of the budget. They always sneak in some policy issues in that, and that'll give you something to talk about next week.
Yes, no one is safe until they go home.
That's right.
All right, Chris Hurstum, Rachel Leingang, thanks so much for joining us.